Hi, Matt.
Hey, what's
Hey,
up?
I've been waiting here for a long time to tell you something.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I here's the thing. I noticed this Zencaster invitation in my email, and
Mhm.
it's been sitting here for ding dang 3.5 weeks.
That's from me. I've been waiting.
And so you've just been sitting here for 3.5 weeks.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, have you been at least like?
I was recording the whole thing.
Okay.
My reactions to games I've played, basket meowing, every time my door buzzed, exciting stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe it's. Were we gonna record a? If I had gotten here earlier, would we have recorded a podcast, or would I have just sat and listened to you talk about basket in your door?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, why not both?
Anyway, I'm here now.
Yeah, I want to tell you a funny thing I overheard about pasta. I know, you're so excited.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
I went to the Wisconsin State Fair,
Mhm.
which I know I don't live in Wisconsin. I live in Illinois. I live in Chicago, but our state fair is in Springfield, which is about 4 hours away. I mean, you could do it if you wanted to. You could go drive down there and stay overnight, whatever. I've done it before. It's fine. I like our state fair. Wisconsin State Fair is only an hour and a half away. So why would I go to Illinois State Fair when I could just go to Wisconsin and eat a bunch of cheese? You know? Like that seems like the better thing to do.
I
So
don't know
this
why you would or wouldn't.
exactly, it's stupid. So this state fair is popular. I'm talking like crushed in a sardine can, person to person. You're like barely trudging through until it gets late. And I like staying at carnivals and like fairs really late. I think it's like so fun. And so
Okay.
I'm walking and I'm close to everyone, so I can hear everybody's like conversations.
Yeah.
And there's like this couple behind me. I don't know if they're like on a date. I don't it doesn't seem like they've been dating very long just due to the nature of this pasta conversation.
Okay.
And I overhear the woman
Oh,
say like
I hope you hear somebody break up over pasta.
over pasta. No, they
Yeah. Yeah.
agreed is the weird thing. So
I like farfalle. Well, I like penne.
this woman is like, I just don't like pasta. I just don't like any pasta. And the guy's like, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, what
What?
about, yeah, he's
How
like,
does he know what she means?
I don't know. And he goes on to say, like, like the macaroni pastas, like the cold pastas, what's that? And she's like, I know, it's so weird. And now they're putting all these like weird chemicals in the pastas.
They're putting weird chemicals in the pasta. It's like an Alex Jones rant. They're putting weird chemicals in the pastas.
Lizard people are making pastas. And he's like, yeah, the cold pasta's the worst out of all of them because they're putting mayonnaise in it. And he said like they're putting weird stuff in the mayonnaise.
They're putting weird stuff in the mayonnaise. They're using mayonnaise to make us all woke.
Lizard people. and that okay, listen. Wisconsin, I got nothing against you. I mean, I kind of do. I'm from Chicago, and Milwaukee's only second best.
Okay, so you lied to them.
So I lied. Well, listen, I've never seen so many fucking weirdos and bad tattoos and cream puffs in my entire fucking life.
They're putting cream puffs in the pasta.
Pasta! Anyway, that's my story, and I hope you liked it.
I just don't understand what the fuck they were talking about. That's a strange. That's
I got nothing. I don't even know how to end this because it's so bizarre. I guess we can go into the music.
They're putting music in the podcasts. Hey everybody, and welcome to Save Your Game. I am your host, Matt Aucamp, and with me is the mayonnaise, the pasta, the cold and full of weird stuff pushing up roses.
Hi, I'm full of chemicals. Pasta's getting way too woke.
RFK's gonna fix the pasta.
I've just never heard
Robert
anyone
Floppy
say
Kennedy.
Floppy Kennedy. I've just never heard anyone say that they don't like pasta of any kind.
No,
And then for the guy to agree, I'm just like, whoa, they're made for each other.
That's strange by itself. Yeah, and then to start complaining about all the stuff they're putting. I just love how is it okay, we're breaking the fourth wall here. We're not supposed to reference the cold open in the show, but I do have to talk more about this because it's weird. Was he just trying to impress her and he would have said anything?
I think it sounded insane.
If it wasn't like, so he's like, oh, and they're putting weird stuff in the mayonnaise. Well, if she had been like, yeah, and I don't get hot pasta and tomato sauce, he would have been like, yeah, they're putting weird stuff in the tomato sauce. Was he just gonna say it about anything?
I don't know. It seemed earnest because she didn't prompt it. Because all she said was, I just don't like pasta. So this leads me to believe, with my deduction skills, that they've had other conversations that were kind of weird. Because they're comfortable talking about putting weird shit in the mayonnaise. Like, I don't know. Yeah. They must have they must have connected, bonded over weird stuff.
Here's the last thing I'll say about it. Mayonnaise is all weird shit.
That's true.
I love mayonnaise, but it is all weird shit. So like, I don't know what they expect from their mayonnaise.
Also, you don't have to eat the macaroni salad. That's just one little part of what pasta could be.
It sounds like you had a big adventure this weekend. I feel like there's more that you have to tell me about your big adventurous weekend.
I had a great time in Milwaukee. So okay. I stayed in Milwaukee proper. It was only about 8 minutes away from the state fair, which is in a town called Alice, Allis, Alice.
Okay.
So I went up there. I visited my best friend, April. Or I should say my other best friend. I don't want to make anyone angry here.
Does she listen? Hi, April. I know it. I have met April.
Yeah, April's great. We had dinner. And then where I stayed, it's called the Brumder Mansion. Yes,
no,
Brumder. No, I was also very skeptical. It's called the Brumder Mansion.
Is that named? Is that somebody's last name?
It is.
Bill Brumder.
Bill Brumder, Esquire. And it's one of these old mansions that's decked out with all this cool. It's a bed and breakfast, but it doesn't look like a weird bed and breakfast. It looks like a mansion. Okay. And my room was a suite. It had 2 bedrooms. It had a hot tub in one of the bedrooms.
Have you been to a bed and breakfast that wasn't in a mansion?
I've never been to one.
Okay. I've been to 2 bed and breakfasts.
Okay.
Neither of them were as weird as I would have thought they were, which is why I went to a second one.
Yeah.
but they were both in mansions. So I do wonder, are all bed and breakfasts in mansions? But okay. All right. Continue.
Yeah. This was not weird. There were not Victorian dolls everywhere. It was very clean. And there's cookies outside my door.
And they didn't make you hang out with them or anything?
No, of course not. Yeah. And, they gave a little bit of history on it. And apparently this building was owned by Al Capone. And it used to be a speakeasy and a brothel and a gentleman's club.
What people don't realize is that his full name was Al Capone Brumder.
Good old Al Brumder,
Good old ACB.
And you can tell.
AC Brumder. Here's my friend AC Brumder. You could tell that Capone had been there. Oh, because there were dead bodies all around.
Yeah, because there were dead bodies and money flying everywhere. No. It just had that appearance. It had that true to the period appearance. But yeah, he came to own this place after the Brumders sold it. And
Okay.
it was so cool. It was way more interesting than staying at a hotel or a motel or on someone's couch. It was really
Holiday Inn.
cool. And yeah, Holiday Inn. And then I went to the fair. I spent one night at the fair and one day at the fair. And it was so fun. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that, like, yes, I understand that cheese is big. It's the dairy state, but also cream puffs. They're okay. There's a whole building dedicated to the process of making cream puffs. I'm not kidding.
Okay. This is our cream puff building.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was in the dairy building. Yeah, the dairy building. And I went to the exposition center. I saw who won like the best of, like who won prettiest cow. I don't know what constitutes that. I really don't.
Prettiest cow.
Best in
Not
division. Staff favorite cow.
which cow turns us on the most?
Yeah, exactly. Sexiest cow.
Sexiest cow.
There was a really cool like
Kilf.
Kilf? What is
Cow
kilf?
I'd like to fuck.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I'm really sorry about that one.
I am not editing it out. Anyway.
That one I'm really sorry about.
There was a circus, and if you guys know me, you know I fucking love a circus. I love circuses and adventure games. I love circuses in real life. I like carnivals. I like midways. It provided all of that. And there's this really cool like dog, like they had like dogs there all day for like dog training.
Okay.
And when I say dog training, what I really meant is these dogs think that they're playing, but we're really actually timing them. They just think they're getting some energy out and having a real good time. But there's like a dock diving competition where like their trainers would throw a fun toy into a little pool area, and they would just like soar into the air and retrieve the toy for you.
So it's like a bragging rights. It's like my dog plays better than yours.
Yeah, exactly. And then like you've all seen probably agility tests. They show them in dog shows where they weave through the poles and hop over little hurdles and stuff like that. And
sure, yeah.
Some of these dogs were chaotic because these are all people's like beloved pets.
Sure.
And they're just having a good time, and they are trained. They're amazingly trained, but like they're just like so chaotic. One went through the weave poles like backwards, and then the trainer just started cracking up. It's like, well,
so they don't take this that seriously.
It's not. It's really not. No.
Okay,
there was a winner. There are always winners in their divisions and stuff. But it's not that serious. Nobody was upset that they didn't do well because they're dogs. Like they're doggies. Like how can you be upset at them? They're just being dogs. Last thing I'll say, I went on a thrill ride. A little fun fact about me is that I love thrill rides that are extremely fast and that go around and around and like spin. Things that give me whiplash.
Okay. All right.
I went on something called Techno Power. Which
you texted me about this, and it was always full caps.
Yeah, just Techno Power.
Techno Power.
It had the ugliest backdrop I've ever seen, and that's saying something for like a fair ride. It like had all these DJs, like these techno DJ faces, but they're all like stretched out because they're painted on multiple panels.
Okay.
So imagine like the ride, like the Scrambler, but imagine you are being lifted up and whipped around at like 90 degrees, sometimes even higher than 90. Like you could fall out.
Okay.
And you're going fast and in a circle, and there's techno music like pumping in the background. It was great. I loved it. And I also went for the first time on it's a ride called the Crazy Mouse. It is a
Crazy Mouse.
It's like a cart. It's like a circular cart that spins and also is a roller coaster. So it's a roller coaster that spins all the way around like a tilt-a-whirl, and you're in like a cart. I love it. And I love going fast. Fast is like my favoriteest thing ever. I did not eat anything unusual. Sad to report that I had some fried mushrooms.
Ooh, yum.
Yeah, I love fried vegetables.
And
fried
cheese curd?
I did not have any.
What the fuck?
Dude, I live so close to Wisconsin. I don't need
You're
Yeah.
drowning in cheese curd.
Yeah, I don't need cheese curds.
I live near Kennett Square, which is where the majority of, I think, the world, but at least the country, gets most of their mushrooms.
Okay.
And they have a mushroom festival
Nice.
every year. And fried mushrooms and cheese curds is like the reason to go to the mushroom festival.
When is
you'll get a
that? Because
fried.
I want to go because I love mushroom. I'm not even kidding. I love mushrooms. I had ordered from this new cafe
Mhm.
and they were out of like mushroom tacos. That's what I wanted was mushroom tacos.
Yeah.
It's just a vegan type of taco, but I love mushrooms. I was so excited. And I get my order and there's a note in there and it says, "I'm so sorry. We're out of mushrooms, but here's a cookie instead." And I was angry. I was angry at a cookie.
You didn't want. Don't give me a cookie. I would love a mushroom though.
I don't want this dumb cookie. I want my mushrooms.
So that's okay. So the next mushroom festival is on September 6th and 7th.
Oh my god, it's coming up.
I
The
know,
mushroom fest.
it's a little too close for what I was gonna say. I was like, what if we did a Save Your Game meetup at the mushroom festival?
That's
Kennett
so
Square?
funny. Oh my gosh, let's gauge interest. It's coming up.
It's coming up soon. I think it's too close. I think it's too
Man.
close to do something that stupid.
I still think I should go to the mushroom festival.
yeah, come on. Come
Like,
to
can
the
I buy
mushroom
like
festival.
produce?
As long as the produce is mushrooms. No, I think it's
That's it. It's really just mushrooms.
most of it is, fairs and booths, and
Yeah.
there's like a cooking contest. There's a fried mushroom eating contest.
Oh my gosh.
There are tents where they show you the process of growing mushrooms.
Amazing.
But mostly it's just, what any festival would be. It's, they close down the streets and
Yeah.
they have bands playing and they have a bunch of food stalls and local vendors selling their wares.
I love shit like that. Like, for real. I love it.
Okay, I'll come to the Wisconsin State Fair next year. And we'll do a meet. we'll
do a
meetup.
We'll
In
do a
2026, let's do 2 meetups back to back
Yes.
with our fans. We'll do one at the Wisconsin State Fair. Come find us.
One
and
on
then we'll
East
do
Coast,
one at the
one on Mid. Yeah.
Then we'll do one at the Kennett Square Mushroom Festival. Come find us.
Yeah, come find us. Nobody wanted to
2026.
go on Techno Power with me. So if y'all want to go on Techno Power with me, full rides, I'm your girl.
If we forget, you guys have to email us mattandroses@gmail.com and remind us closer to this time next year. Remember, you guys are doing a meetup at the Wisconsin State Fair.
Remember, Roses wants to go on Techno Power. What have you been riding? Is it Techno Power? No, what have you been playing?
Oh, okay, all right. Playing. Phew, I thought you were asking me about my new relationship, and I was I was getting very sweaty.
Who have you been riding?
Who have you been riding lately?
Oh my god.
Cut this. No, you don't have to. I have been playing a couple things. Let's see. Here's what I'll talk about. I'll touch on one thing and then I'll talk about another thing. The one thing that I've been playing just this past week that is really fucking fun, and it's not an adventure game and there's basically no story, but it rules. It is the new Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound.
Okay.
And it is just a pixel art 2D platformer.
Classic.
And it fucking rules. It's high octane. It's super fun. It's very fluid. It's not as punishingly difficult as like the Ninja Gaidens you remember as a kid.
Oh yeah. Those are tough games. Oh my god.
Yeah. And I'm just having a fucking blast with it, dude. Climbing on walls and throwing ninja stars and stabbing folks. Ninja Gaiden. It's so cool.
I didn't even know there was gonna be a new one. I love it.
Yeah.
Listen, I love it when games just come out. Like there's no, it's a risk, right? Like there's no advert for it. It just like shocks and surprises you. And I mean, Monkey Island did that. Return to
Yeah.
Monkey Island did that, and it's just like it's so fun. I just really like it.
All right, but here's a game that I played beginning to end recently. And it's called Pumpkin Town Isoland Pumpkin Town. I don't know which one comes first and which one comes second. There is a loose crank in it.
Oh no. Oh no. I need to do a video of like top 10 loose cranks.
You gotta feature me on this video.
That was my nickname in high school, Loose Crank. I would feature you, absolutely.
That's still my name. That's still my nickname.
Yeah.
Still people call me Loose Crank. So I don't know if you've played any of the Cotton games.
I have not, but I know of them because I accidentally bought you one for your birthday because it was on it was Reviver and it was on your wish list. And I'm like, this looks cool. And like I was telling, Matt off recording that I don't just go to people's wish lists and buy stuff. I also have to like it. I have to like how it looks, and I'm like, yeah, I like how this looks.
Yeah, so Cotton Game, I don't know. They have a lot of these games have the flavor. It's a Chinese developer, and a lot of these games have the flavor of mobile, sort of that escape room style puzzle game, right? Where you're going around, there's clues written on the walls, and you pick up inventory, and every inventory item has basically one use, and there's fetch quests, but it's also a lot of intricate mini game style puzzles. Mr. Pumpkin was the earliest of their games, and it was a little bit more like a point and click adventure, but again, very, very simple. And then the Isoland games started. They all take place, I think, in this sort of same universe. If there's a story, it is impossible to discern what it is. But he just packs his games full of literary references and references to philosophy and references to art. So there's a lot of times puzzles will have some metaphorical meaning, and 90% of the time you won't be able to really figure out what it is because it's really obtuse. But recently, they've been getting into games that have more of I say recently, but I'll talk about it. Especially recently, they've been getting into games that have more of a complex feel to them, right? There was a game that came out last year called Sunset Hills that is a really beautiful, kind of just regular old adventure game. It's a little bit clunkier and more simple than say a Wajidai game. But it's really, and you can tell that it's a Cotton game when you're playing it. You can tell that it has the same sort of puzzle sensibilities, but there is a story, and the art is like they took their time with the art, whereas the Isoland games and Mr. Pumpkin games are kind of maybe a little rudimentary.
Maybe they're not detailed, but they are very stylized, and they look kid-like, but intentionally. So that it does take talent to do a style like this. But you're right; it's not going to be as detailed as like the game we'll be discussing today, or heavily pixelated, games.
It's just, if you don't know these games, they're worth taking a look at. I think you'll know by looking at them whether they're your type of game or not. To be honest,
I think so too.
Yeah, you can tell pretty much what they are by looking at them. But that all to say, I played Isoland Pumpkin Town. It is just very much like an Isoland game. I got incredibly stuck at one point, which always happens because, again, the games there's some very difficult logic puzzles, and most of it is very obtuse.
Yeah.
And metaphorical. So there'll always be some puzzle where you're just like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I can't possibly know this.
Yeah.
And that happened in Pumpkin Town. But if you like the Isoland games, it was a very good installment. So
excellent.
That's what I played.
But we've also been playing something else.
I can't imagine what.
That we'll be talking about today. I'm doing that thing again where I'm keeping it a secret, and I don't know why, because it's in the title.
It's
What's wrong with me?
checkers. We've been playing
It's
checkers.
We've been playing online checkers.
Yeah, and the story in this game is crazy.
That reminds me, what you said there, it reminds me of this thing that happens in Space Quest 4, where you find like a bargain bin of games that just didn't go anywhere. And one of them is checkerboard set, like checkerboard construction set. And that's all you do. And I remember just thinking it was so funny. And the tagline is like, Phil Fudge does it again in checker construction set. Put down oppositely colored checkers in any way you want to, as long as they're opposite. But yeah, we're talking about Kathy Rain 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can talk about that. Sure.
Yeah, we can talk about
that.
I
gotta take some notes real quick.
What, right now? Oh god.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't prepared for this. You didn't tell me.
Shit.
All right, I'm
Do
good.
you think you can get your notes done in the time that the music, or which we need to generate? Your generator. Get your generator.
I'm just gonna call it Kathy Rainerino because I'm so busy writing these notes.
All right, we'll be back with notes. Hey everyone, welcome back to Save Your Game. I'm one of your hosts. I was going to say co-host again. That just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, because co-host always sounds like, and it's not, but it sounds lesser, right?
It does. I don't know
but
why.
But it's not. We are co-hosts.
We are co-hosts.
Host this show.
Why
brain, should we be ashamed of it?
Circuits. I don't know. We need to end the stigma.
Raise our co-host flag high. We are co-hosts.
We are co-hosts. I am one of your co-hosts. Pushing up roses with me as always, Matt Aucamp.
Hey, I'm a co-host.
So did you get your notes in order?
Yeah, but then they fell out of a window and into a big fire, so I'm just gonna have to wing it.
I will save them for you.
This is a thing people don't know. I live in a 40-story building above a giant fire.
I want to make that into an adventure game setting, like so bad. Like somebody lives in a building and there's just like this perpetual fire going on, and that's it. It's contained, but it's there.
Yeah, it's just there's a fire. It's constantly going. You're solving puzzles all the way down.
Oh,
but
shit.
One thing you constantly have to deal with on each 40 each of the 40 floors is that there's a never-ending fire.
Never-ending fire.
I don't even think it's contained. I think that's part of the challenge, is that sometimes it shoots up the building and then you have to deal with the fire. And then you can get back to solving, I don't know, your like best friend's murder or whatever.
All those loose cranks everywhere. Your best friend's murder.
We gotta everybody get to your crank stations and we'll crank this fire down together.
We all have to have one crank in our hand. They all have to be in the crank holes at the same time. And if we time it wrong, we start all over again.
And then you just crank down the fire every couple hours, and that's how you keep it controlled.
But anyway, this has nothing to do with the game that we're talking about, which is...
That's all I had in my notes, so...
Oh, boy. Well, I guess I'll do the heavy lifting on this one. Kathy Rain 2 Soothsayer, which I want to say also kind of crept up on me. As I kind of mentioned earlier, I said I kind of like games that don't have a lot of marketing, that they kind of just surprise you, which is very risky. You would never see that in a AAA title. They have deadlines and marketing deadlines and all this stuff. But indie games do it sometimes. And Kathy Rain 2 just kind of crept up on me. It had been almost 10 years. About 9. I guess, a little over 9 years since the first Kathy Rain.
Yeah.
And I thought it was solid.
It's interesting. So Kathy Rain #1 was published by Raw Fury. And I remember they did a bunch of interviews around that time about how the game, at least at first, wasn't profitable.
Right.
but they had a lot of faith in Joel Hasto.
Mm-hmm.
I'm butchering that name, but he's the developer of Kathy Rain, and
I'll forgive you.
he was a one-man studio at the time, Cliff
Yes,
Top Games.
I met him at PAX,
Oh,
and I played the demo for Kathy Rain 1, and I was thrilled with it.
wow.
Like, yeah, I was one of the first people to have played that demo. And I'm like,
That's
yes,
amazing.
absolutely. I am very excited about this.
So they even said at the time, we are going to keep funding this guy and his studio, because what they said was, this is a game that needs to exist.
Yeah.
They're like, there's more metrics to judge a game by than how much money it makes. And
Yes.
we believe in Kathy Rain. So I don't know if he was developing it the entire time. I know he's had jobs in working on other games.
Sure.
So maybe Kathy Rain is just his sort of passion project in the background, and that's why it took 10 or 9 years. But
Sure.
I'm really impressed with what he created.
Oh, I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. I have criticisms on it, but that's because I am a game critic. I will always find something that's going to make it better, or that could be better, because that's art. I think we've had this discussion. That's art. That's what it is. But man, I was thrilled when I saw the trailers for this. Thrilled.
Critiquing art is a compliment to art because you are taking it seriously.
Yeah, and I do take it seriously, especially.
And even if you hate somebody's stuff, you are taking seriously their craft.
Yeah. And I really liked Kathy Rain 1 because it gave me Gabriel Knight vibes. And to be perfectly frank, Gabriel Knight was a pretty unique type of game. Structure, story-wise, weren't seeing a lot of that in adventure games. It just felt very unique. And to bring kind of a structure like that back and have people be interested in it, I think is a great feat.
Yeah, there was a lot of, people thought of, especially people outside of the adventure game world. Mm-hmm. We are a little too enmeshed in it.
Sure.
Normal people, I think, look at adventure games for a long time did, as a funny genre.
Sure. Not exactly comedy, but funny. Yeah.
Yeah, like a silly, those are those silly games like Day of the Tentacle
or just like high
Space
fantasy.
Quest.
Because let's look at it even further back, starting with like King's Quest. A lot of high fantasy adventure games happened.
And King's Quest games were silly. And Quest for Glory games were silly.
Quest for Glory games were more silly, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Gabriel Knight, like, I don't know, like The Dig or even Broken Sword, right?
Sure. A little, yeah.
These were deviation. And Beneath a Steel Sky, these were deviations from the formula.
Gabriel Knight was a thriller. Just full on was a thriller. And written by an author who writes thrillers, Jane Jensen. So yeah, it is unique.
And at this point, we've seen as many, if not more, serious point and click games than goofy ones.
Yeah.
But it's still nice to see a game that is, I'd say, following the Gabriel Knight formula fairly faithfully.
Very faithfully. And like, I want to make it clear, I am very okay with that. I like literary parody. Romeo and Juliet is literary parody. I studied parody actually when I was in college because I was a fiction writing major, and I had to write a 1-to-1 parody on the Penal Colony by Franz Kafka. And when you're writing a 1-to-1, so if Franz Kafka has a paragraph with this many sentences, I also need to have a paragraph with this many sentences. It's hard. It's actually really, really hard. So this isn't like super 1-to-1, but in tone and structure, I think it is. And even in characters, but I am fine with that. It is not copying. It's not plagiarism. It's just very faithful, and it's really good. They did a really good job. Yeah.
I think before we get too deep into Kathy Rain 2, we should just go over briefly what happened in Kathy Rain 1.
Yeah, go for it. Because
Um,
I'm having a hard time remembering. I did even a video on it, but that was 9 years ago.
yeah. So you're a college student, and your roommate is this girl named Eileen, who is this sort of intrepid. I think she's probably a journalism student. I don't know if they say,
I
but she
think she
becomes a
is.
journalist eventually. So I
Yeah.
think even if whether it's retconned or not, she's a journalism student.
Yeah.
Um, and she finds an article that your grandfather had died, and so your family who you've been estranged from, you go to your grandfather's funeral, you meet your grandmother. It leads you to sort of discovering that the circumstances of your grandfather's death are suspicious. Well, I'll say this. His death is not suspicious, but the catatonic state he's been in
Mm.
for 15 years
Mhm.
is suspicious. And so you start looking into that, which leads you on this sort of detective chase where you're kind of following a creepy church that turned into a sort of drug cult based around
Yeah.
this flower called the red scythe that causes hallucinations,
Yeah.
um and has been somehow, a lot of people in this town have been either going insane or disappearing, and it is either related to this flower or related to this series of lights that happen in the woods. Ultimately, you end up finding that there is this supernatural. The red scythe is a gateway to this supernatural realm called the Malleable. And there's a man in the Malleable called the Crimson One, whose motivations I'm not entirely sure what they are.
The motivations almost sound like a very Cthulhu type thing. Like they're in communication with the old gods, and now they think that maybe they can be a part of that, and
Yeah.
it seems like a power thing. Most
And
cults
we
are.
do finally meet one of the old gods in um Kathy Rain 2, and it's pretty much confirmed that the old gods want nothing to do with what these people have been doing with
With the
them.
cults. Yeah.
Yeah. And so in the first one, it is a cult that they have linked the Crimson One to Jesus Christ, and they've linked these strange light formations to the Holy Trinity, and they believe that they can bring the Crimson One to Earth and I don't know, I guess create some sort of rapturous event. I don't that's
Mhm.
again, that's the part that's not entirely clear to me. What is the end goal? But it
Right.
is, they do have this very religious faith in it. So the story ends with you visiting the Malleable, and the Malleable will take the traumas of your past and make them sort of manifest, or the
Mhm.
psychological things that are torturing you rather, and
Yeah.
make them manifest. And so you end up having to confront that your dad left you and your mom when you were young, joined a biker gang, ended up running away to Mexico and starting a new family. Your mom kind of went insane and
Yeah.
had some, and her it seems like paranoid delusions were focused on your grandparents. So she took you from your grandparents, seems to be an abusive mother to you, and
Yeah.
you kind of raised yourself because she was incapable of raising you.
Mhm.
So you thought your grandparents abandoned you. You know your dad abandoned you. Your mom is in a psychiatric facility, so
Mhm.
you feel guilty about having put her there, but you also feel resentful because she wasn't a mother to you,
Right.
and you're struggling with an abortion you had.
Yeah.
um, so the first game is very much about confronting your grief rather than hiding from it.
Right.
Because Kathy Rain, she ran away from her family, and she doesn't visit her mom, and she doesn't think about the abortion, right? Like she
Right.
tries to push it all out of her head, and this has made her confront the fact that her grandparents tried to adopt her
Yeah.
all the way up till the time she was an adult. she shouldn't have been running from her grandparents. They wanted to be in her life.
Yeah.
And she had to face the fact that whether her mom is conscious of it or not, she can't be blamed for putting her
Right.
mom in the facility. And it's interesting. The abortion is more up to you as a player because you have a bunch of different options, or just one dialogue option, but it's
Mhm.
just about how you feel about abortion. You can
How
either
you
regret it.
personally feel? Oh, okay.
Exactly. You can either
Yeah.
regret it or say you've done nothing wrong, and there's a bunch of different flavors of that regret.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
I regret that it happened. I wish I hadn't done it, or I forget what the kind of the point behind the fourth one is. But the first one, the one I chose, is I did nothing wrong.
Yeah, yeah, that's
um,
probably what I chose as well.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
if I wanted to give her a little more, like, flavor or a little more realism, because I think that people do struggle with choices they've made, whether it's from
sure.
societal guilt or, whatever. I might have chose something, like, more in the middle. I don't really remember. Um, but yeah, I feel like that's almost like a side thought where really the main points were the grief about the life she didn't really have.
Yeah, right. That she grew up without a father, and she grew
Yeah.
up without her
Without a
grandparents,
mother, really, too.
and
I
without a
mean,
mother,
yeah.
and she had this other opportunity, I guess, to have a different life, to be a mother, and chose not to.
Yeah.
Um, and whether or not that's something to regret, it's still, like you said, another life she could have had.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all
So
tied to grief.
there is a type of grief that I think, even if you don't think there's anything wrong with abortion, as I don't,
Yeah. I don't either.
there's
But but I've definitely had friends who have felt the grief from it. Because
yes,
it's still
same.
another life that you didn't necessarily have. It doesn't mean you did something
E-
wrong,
Exactly. It's you've made a choice about
complicated.
you've made a very definite choice about a path.
Yeah. It's complicated.
Hmm.
That's why I
It is.
don't like pro-lifers, because they act like it's not complicated, and it is.
It is very
It's
complicated,
hard
and
and it's
they
complicated.
attack you at the most vulnerable place in your life by
Yeah,
standing
super
outside of
helpful.
Planned
Yeah.
Parenthood clinics. And anyway, if you want to win
That's
hearts and
Catherine
minds,
Rain 1.
if you want to win hearts and minds, maybe don't do it right at the most vulnerable part of
Yeah,
somebody's life when they are at their absolute lowest.
yeah, maybe don't
That
do that.
is what we call predation.
Yeah, don't be doing that, folks.
And speaking of predation, that is that's one of the themes of both Kathy Reigns, is
Yeah.
the way that people with these zealots with fanatical beliefs
Mhm.
prey on people at their weakest moments.
Yeah.
Not again. Yeah, this isn't to say this is true of all faithful people. I don't want
Yeah,
anyone to
it's
walk away
not.
thinking that's what I'm
I
saying.
do think there is a big difference between, having faith, having a religion, and a fucking cult. And I
Right, and
love cult stuff. In my spare time, man, I'm looking up cults. There's something wrong with me.
I think, and in Kathy Rain, I think they make that clear too. There
They do.
is, you learn at one point, there is a deacon who he's one of the victims of the Soothsayer. We'll get into it real soon.
Yeah.
And he was trying to help somebody he thought was in crisis.
Right. Right.
Turns out she was manipulating him, but there is a way to help somebody who's in crisis without preying on them.
Yeah.
But both games are about people doing the opposite of that.
Yeah. I think even more so for Kathy, it's gone from, like, her personal story now is that it seems like in the last few years, not few years, but yeah, because 1998. This game takes place, just so you guys know, in 1998. The previous game took place in 1995. So,
Correct.
3 years have passed. And it seems now that what she's dealing with is that she's become maybe not a great person in these last few years. She's kind of dealing with the fact that she's mistreated Eileen, which was her friend and roommate from the last game. She's mistreated a guy who is really into her and is not reliable, and now we're kind of dealing with those demons as we go through this game.
Yeah, it's funny because it feels like we're gonna do the deep dive before we do the regular dive, but I'm
Sure.
good with that.
I'm
I'm
fine.
good.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Yeah.
that. It's okay.
Because, I think it is, Kathy Rain is so much about her grief, and Kathy Rain too is about, her manipulation, the way she
Yeah.
uses people,
Yeah.
and the way she refuses to.
Take
There's a
accountability.
difference, right? There's a difference between depending on somebody and using somebody. There's a
Yeah.
difference between a friendship and a, you know, um, what would you even call it? Like
Um, a fair weather friend. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah,
there's a difference
being a fair
between
weather
being
friend.
friends with
Yeah.
somebody and using somebody, manipulating
Yeah.
somebody.
For convenience. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's clear, for example, that she loves Eileen, her friend,
Yeah.
but can't admit that and can't ask Eileen for help. She can only sort of manipulate Eileen into helping her.
Right. She won't
Um,
ask. She'll just kind of cleverly get the help using
and
more
that
manipulation
is,
tactics.
yeah, and they address that really directly in the game.
Yeah.
There's a moment. Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't mind, maybe I can just give the rundown then.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, let's do the rundown.
To start, again, 3 years have passed. You are now in 1998. And since then, you have started your own PI operation. You are a PI in your own office, but things have not been going well. You haven't had a great case, since the last case, which was again 3 years ago. She's still living in the small town of Cassidy, and it seems that she had a bit of a falling out with Eileen. And now again, we are to speculate that these things happened off screen within the last 3 years. So I
Yes.
guess Eileen wanted to be a part of, Kathy Rain's PI operation, but it wasn't working out. I think Kathy fired her. And it seems that Kathy also reports or has a work relationship and a friendship with another PI named Lucas, who is older.
Yeah.
It seems like they have worked together to swap information that they get, and
It's
sometimes
a
work together
lot
on
to happen
cases.
in
It
It's a lot
is.
to happen in 3 years.
It
I
is.
wonder if they maybe should have said it in, like, 2001 or something.
I know. It's a lot, and it's explained very quickly and
Yeah.
again, we are supposed to kind of be on board with that these things happened. Here are the new set of characters.
But I think I like that about both games is that there's no info dump in
Sure.
either game. There is, you uncover the characters' backgrounds through their interactions with other characters and,
Yeah.
you know, little side comments they make and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's really smart storytelling, and it's something that I really admire about both of these games.
Yeah. And so Lucas, he's not your direct superior, but he is a respected PI in your
It
world
seems like
that you
you
work with.
used to work for him for a little while. He was like your
Yeah, yeah.
mentor. Yeah.
And now you have a working relationship, and he's almost like a father figure. You can tell that they
Yeah.
really care about each other, which would be very pertinent and personal to
Because
Kathy,
she didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and he somehow convinces her to look into this new case that's happening. And this is your very classic serial killer case. He's going to go by the Soothsayer, and there have
Yeah.
been 5 victims. They're not connected in any way that people can tell. They're not, for example, they're not all women of a certain age. They're not all children. They're all different. And so Kathy kind of goes on this, what I would call like a procedural, almost like a Law and Order type of a format, to figure out more about the victims, so we can find out what's going on, so we can find out more about the Soothsayer. At the same time, something new is kind of included in this game, introduced, and that is a drug kind of operation, and this drug called Pyre, which I have thoughts on. I feel like this was an interesting part of the game. I was trying to figure out, how Pyre was connected to the killer and what they were using Pyre for. But in the end, I felt like it was never quite explained, or what the drugs were really used for. At least the flower, the red scythe, that is a little bit more explained. Pyre,
Yeah.
I don't know if that was just a red herring, because it can be. If it's a procedural, you can have red herring plot lines that maybe don't go anywhere.
I think Pyre was the way they were delivering the red scythe to what ended up almost all the users of Pyre. This is the only thing that's confusing about Pyre to me is they talk about how there are basically two people who are, for all intents and purposes, who are the Soothsayer.
Right.
You learn this about halfway through the game. I don't think that's a huge spoiler. Maybe we'll spoil it a little more later.
Sure.
In this episode, but they tend to give this drug to people that they are going to use as victims.
Yes. Yeah.
And the victims are for some supernatural purpose that
Yeah.
also is a little bit nebulous. But there's
It is a
some
little
other people
nebulous.
you meet that have taken the drugs and the drug, and there's some people who took it once and then got killed, and there's some people who seemed to be taking it for a long time. So
Right.
there are some things about Pyre that I'm not sure about, but what I am sure about is that it is their way of delivering the red scythe to people that in the first game was used to cross over into the malleable.
Right. It seems like there's some experimentation here from the two people who are the Soothsayer. And yeah, you're right. There are thrillers can be this way sometimes, especially when there is a supernatural element to it. But for me, there were some things that were a little too nebulous. I thought the malleable was a little nebulous in the last game. And I think that some of the paranormal stuff here can be even more nebulous. Like I do want to say this though. I think it is a tangible paranormal thing. We were kind of speculating on, since there is a drug element, how much of it is hallucination and that we are solving puzzles in a dreamlike state. Like, let's say the malleable from the first game and this game are just we're solving them in a dreamlike state, because that happens in adventure games. There's a lot of games where you go into a dream world and it's more metaphorical. I am of the belief that these are tangible and that the paranormal is actually happening. That's how I interpret and how I play it.
So I'm trying to think of how to say this without spoiling the end of this game, but in the first game there is there's a very logical read of the first game in which none of the paranormal stuff happened.
Yeah.
In which it is all cult activity and drug related, like a mythos that are built around people's hallucinations. And even their final scene takes place in the malleable, but right after you stumble across a field of red scythe.
Right.
So there is a, Dorothy in the poppy fields explanation here, where Kathy Rain hallucinated the entire supernatural element that the game ends on.
Right.
That same kind of explanation would not be possible in Kathy Rain 2.
I agree. Yeah. I think because it's not possible, that we again would maybe interpret it as tangible in 1 as well. Now that we have the sequels that it's connecting.
I agree, and I think the reason that I had wanted to bring that up to you was because I wonder if you feel like that robs the first game of something.
No, I don't think it does. I think it holds the same themes of grief. And because I had already played it like that, I hadn't even really considered that that it could be an hallucination. Right. What I think more of what I get from these games are, because you go into the malleable 2 times. These games are connected, that the plot lines are connected. And you end up in the malleable again. And I think part of me considered that the drug, either pyre or red scythe, or that if it is the same thing, it is making you hallucinate, but it's also giving you access that maybe normally you couldn't
Yeah.
see, you know?
So
Almost maybe like the upside down in Stranger Things. Maybe, again, we talked
yeah,
about Twin Peaks off recording, but yeah, things of that nature.
I think that's right. And I mean, the things that you do in the first game, for example, setting fire to the red scythe and closing off the malleable, have tangible consequences in this game. This is some minor spoilers, I
Mhm.
guess. Well, this one's a pretty major spoiler. If you don't want any spoilers, maybe hop ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
But when you burn the red scythe in the first game, you close off the malleable, and another something that it somehow does is freeze this um this, I don't really know what he is, this avatar of some aspect of the old god. Maybe not
Some
even
kind of a
that.
it like a demon,
Somebody's
almost like like a mischievous kind of demon
but isn't
counterpart.
working yeah, a demon that's not working for the old god, a demon that seems to be d- drawing its power from the old god, but it's also trapped.
Yeah.
So like it's that's what I'm having a hard time. That's what I'm
He's
having a
kind
hard
of
time
gone
defining it.
rogue,
Defining it.
basically.
But this Crimson One, as he's called, gets freed, and he becomes a character in this game. He becomes a librarian.
Yeah, because he's now free of his possession, I guess. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? The issue is that now there's probably going to be a new one because it seems like
Right.
this demon uses real people to
Which
do his bidding. You know?
yes, which the big spoiler is that new Crimson One is the priest from the old game, which actually you might know if you watch the post-credit scene in the first game, because uh, the Crimson One walks out. You end that game at the cemetery,
Hmm.
saying goodbye to your grandfather again, and the Crimson Man walks out looking an awful lot in the face. I mean, he's bald now and he's wearing a crimson suit, but has the same sort of beard as the priest.
Right.
And that's who it ends up being. It's the priest who ran the church in the first game and then ended up hanging himself in his cell at the
And
end
I
of that game.
wonder if I do wonder if hanging in the cell was super intentional because obviously in the Catholic religion, if you're a priest, that's not great. That's not a thing
Right.
that would normally
Suicide
happen.
is
Yeah.
a yeah, suicide.
It
You
is.
can't get into heaven if you commit suicide. That
Listen, it
sort of
has
thing.
since been rescinded. That's not a thing in
Right.
Catholicism anymore. But I do wonder if it is a callback to that, to the
Yeah.
fact that the priest maybe intentionally took his life to get into hell, because one of the very last things you hear as you see him kind of hanging in the jail cell, it's really dark, is welcome home from a
Oh
criminal.
yeah.
So I think the malleable is definitely kind of a hell type of a setting. The Crimson One is a demon. Probably why the elder gods don't want anything to do with it, because it is in all essence a hell. You know, it's a hell that can easily victimize people too. Obviously, it goes after Kathy. It makes her question her sanity, and I
Yeah.
think that's what a true hell would. That is hell. That's what hell would do. So
Right.
yeah, I think that's very intentional and interesting, and it's a good way to continue the story of the Crimson One and have it keep going. You know?
Yeah, and while we're in this spoiler section, we should say the soothsayer ends up being another person who wants to use the malleable, a little more villainous about it than the
Yeah,
priest was in the first game. Both
yeah,
of them did terrible things, but this guy um is like, I want to take over the world, while the first guy, the priest in the first game, was sort of like, I want to enlighten people.
right. Right.
So
No, these people
yeah.
had very bad intention. Yeah.
And at the end of the first game, you meet basically a doppelganger of Kathy Rain. The other person who ends up being the Soothsayer is the burned but still living doppelganger of Kathy
Yeah.
Rain, who's now loose in the world after that gateway was closed. They use the phrase tulpa for
Tulpa, which
what she
is
is.
yeah, I mean Tulpa, they use that a lot in Twin Peaks.
Oh, do they?
They do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's an old it's an old Buddhist term
Yeah.
that has often been mythologized as like a thought form of yourself, like a
Right.
doppelganger of certain feelings or emotions that you've had that lives on earth.
Yeah.
That's not what it really meant in the Buddhist religion, but that's how it's been mythologized in fiction over the
Yeah.
past couple hundred years.
Yeah.
um
Yeah, it is like they do look like people, but they're not. It's almost like a copy, kind of like in Twin Peaks. There was like a copy of, I think it was Diane, who turned out to be a tulpa.
okay.
Yeah, so yeah, so you find her again in Kathy Rain 2, and she's the other Soothsayer.
Right.
Or the other part, I guess the other part of the Soothsayer.
So if we're talking about the metaphor here, you could think of her as a manifestation of Kathy's um, bitterness
Yeah. Her
about
low point, yeah.
the things that have been done to her in her life, right? Like in the malleable in the first game, the Topa sort of uses your mother against you and
Yeah.
uses your father against you. There's even an implication when she sicks your father on you that maybe your father was abusive to
Mhm.
you in a really disturbing way.
Sure.
um I forget, he says something to you that is, I don't remember what it is, but he says something creepy to you
Yeah, it goes hard.
that sounds like it's something he said to you before and doesn't fit with the context of the situation, and it
Mhm.
makes you think, oh, is that a reference to him abusing Kathy when she was
Right.
young? Anyway, so she's using these people against you, therefore as a she serves as sort of a metaphor of your bitterness. So if you've destroyed that part of your life, and now what you're living with is the coping mechanisms that you've had about from your grief have been, I'm so independent. I'm not attached to nobody.
Mhm.
Nobody can tell me what to do, and nobody can pin me, hold me down, right? Because she had to raise herself. Every parental figure in her life ended up letting her down.
Yeah.
So she ends up trying not to be attached to anybody, and it hurts people.
Right. Right.
That's what she's dealing with in the second game. So what does the tulpa in your mind represent as
For
a
me, it represents everything she doesn't like about herself.
okay.
Because that tulpa, or again, once again, it does seem to be like a life that you didn't have. Like, I could have been a better daughter to mom. Look at how good I am to mom, and you're
Right.
not to mom at all. So it's kind of like these lingering feelings of doubt and guilt and all the things that maybe one doesn't like about themselves and their life. Because even though she's a doppelganger, she also has somewhat of a different aesthetic, which I think is interesting. She doesn't have the weird hair that Kathy Rain does. I think that's such an interesting thing to put in. Um, I guess are we suggesting that the tulpa though is she is seeing the tulpa though? This is still tangible to you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think like everything else in the malleable, whether or not it's real, it is also metaphor. There is a metaphor happening here, right?
There is
Like it
still
is.
meaning happening. Yeah.
Yes, these are manifestations of something in your psyche.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's also interesting to point out her mother believes the tulpa is her daughter
Yeah.
and Kathy is not,
Yeah.
which is
It's sad,
such
actually.
a fucking rough moment.
It is rough. Yeah, it's sad. It's rough. And I do feel for kind of the realistic way they portray this mother-daughter relationship. Um,
Hmm.
because her mom is obviously still in a psychiatric facility. You do visit her because she has a little bit of a connection to one of the Soothsayer victims. So we're able to get
Yeah.
a little bit of information that way. And, Kathy thinks she's connecting with her mom, but she's really not. And, her mom goes right back to her old typical, kind of abusive behavior. And it sucks. It's rough because it's realistic, there
Yeah.
there is not going
It's
to be in this game, which is again, as we talked about, it's a more serious game. It's a thriller and a
mhm.
procedural. It's not meant to be a funny game. There is not going to be a happy ending here with her mom, and that's the realism of it.
Yeah, I mean at the end of the game you how what was your ending with the mom? I wonder because there are some choices you can make in those final confrontations, and I wonder
Yeah,
if there's more than one outcome.
I don't know. I think we probably got the same outcome.
I convinced the mom that I was the real Kathy,
So did
and
I convinced her with something like, I'm so stubborn, I would never do that.
kind of like, yeah, I got that
Yeah.
stubbornness from you or something.
Yes, yeah.
Then you do save her, and then she agrees to go back to the facility.
The facility, yeah, because that's
Okay,
how
so
it
maybe
has to
that is
be.
the only ending. I wondered if you picked the wrong dialogue options
Huh.
if she died. And
Oh,
I mean, like,
shit.
that would also be I would understand that as an ending to that character too.
Absolutely.
It would
I would too.
suck,
It would
but
suck.
I would get it. I would get
But it's
it
also
thematically.
that's maybe the happiest ending you can get, is the mom
Yeah.
coming to terms with that this does need to happen. I do need to be in this facility, and that's the
And
safest place that this is gonna be for me.
then you knowing that the really hard thing about having somebody in your life that deals with really severe mental illness is it's not permanent, right?
Yeah.
This is unsaid in the game, but you kind of know she's accepting now. In
Yeah.
2 weeks, when Kathy goes to visit her, is she going to be like, "You're not my daughter" again? Is she
Yeah.
going to be like, "Get me out of here? Why are you, this horrible person,
Yeah.
locking me up in here?" It's
But it's nice to
it's
have, like, those moments of lucidity, because moments
yes,
of lucidity happen all the time. It's this ongoing thing, with mental
yes,
illness. You have this moment of lucidity, and then you go back, and then you have it again, and that's what makes it
yeah.
mental illness, right? It doesn't fix itself unless you're, very heavily treated, I should
Yeah,
say.
if your thoughts and feelings were consistent, even if they were shitty thoughts and feelings, you wouldn't be mentally ill. You would
Right,
be
yeah.
yeah.
I will
So
say
okay, why don't we, do you have anything else to say that requires a spoiler to talk about, or do we want to
yes.
come back out of it? Okay.
Yeah, I have one more thing to say, and that's
Yes.
which I've given some thought to. Now, I think both Kathy Rains are too abrupt in their ending. I think there's too many loose ends. It gets a little nebulous. I understand that you need to have a certain suspension of disbelief for a fantasy game and for paranormal. But that being said, it still needs to be a realistic within the story. You can give me any story you want, but that story still has to make sense, whether it's paranormal or not. So to me, there, like I said, there were some nebulous questions I had about Pyre, about how we even got to the malleable, and those type of things. However, this is a good ending. So she, major spoiler here, people.
Hmm.
Um, her peer Lucas, the older PI, dies. He gets
Yeah.
killed by the Soothsayer. And in the end of the game, unlike every other adult figure that has let her down, or she's felt that has let her down, he was the only one that didn't let her down. Not that he was going to anyway, but he's the
Oh
only
man.
one who left her something to show that he cared. And it even was said that, this PI looked at her like a daughter. And I thought that's poignant and important. Like everybody else
Yeah.
kind of left her out to dry, right? Her mom can't give her anything. Her dad left. Her grandparents, they weren't there most of her life, not by choice, but they weren't.
Yeah.
And so Lucas was the only person that, as a parental figure, that gave her something good. And I think she felt that she had somebody to rely on, like, finally.
Yeah, that's wow, yeah. Holy shit. I don't think I had internalized that in that way. Like there's that moment where okay, so her detective agency gets shut down and she gets evicted, and so she has to go for the first time ask for help.
Yeah.
Not manipulate somebody into helping her, not demand somebody help her. She has to ask for help because Eileen is her friend. She has to stay at Eileen's house. And it's a growth moment for Kathy.
Yeah.
It is her finally learning to embrace a connection with another person.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you're saying, immediately another connection that she was really hesitant about. A connection that she made with Lucas, who she was conflicted about, how, like, she was trying to pretend like she wasn't as close to him as she was.
Yeah.
And he, like you said, he comes through for her.
Yeah, he comes through for her. Yeah.
That's just a wild 1-2 punch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, okay, I was thinking of it more in terms of tropes, right? We talked about this a little, again, off air. We should stop talking about how we talked about off air.
We talked about so much stuff off air, you guys.
Okay, but so I was thinking of it mostly in terms of tropes, right? I was thinking of it in terms of, like, oh yeah, and here's that trope that we get at the end of certain stories where, oh, and all that debt you're in, well, here's somebody died and left you a whole bunch of money, right? Because Kathy Rain,
it's easy to look at it that way because it does end abruptly.
And Kathy Rain really does employ tropes throughout, right? It employs tropes about detective stories. It employs tropes about serial killers. It employs tropes about,
relationships.
Kathy Rain herself is a kind of trope.
Sure.
And it employs tropes about paranormal stuff being this reflective thing of your other things in your life. And tropes aren't always bad, right? They can be a shorthand. They can be like they could be used as symbols almost, right? Like you as the audience.
It's a neutral term. There are bad tropes that don't work, and then there are tropes that are classic and that survive across genres.
I think that's entirely true. And I mean, using tropes is like a semiotic act, right? You are speaking to symbols, cultural symbols that people recognize.
Yeah.
And that just helps you to avoid excessive over-explaining.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
It can be a very powerful thing to use a trope, is, I guess, my point. And because of that, because I was looking at it as a trope, I wasn't thinking as deeply about it as I should have. And you're entirely right. This is an answer not just to the financial struggles she's been having, but to the emotional struggles that she's been having. That some people, even in the very end, whether you've pushed them away or not, are going to come through for you.
Yeah. Not everyone will abandon you.
Yeah.
Even in death, he still can. And I thought that was sweet. Again, I still think the end is very abrupt. The end reminds me of Gabriel Knight. I don't know if you remember the end of Gabriel Knight, but in the end, the characters are looking over this kind of mass destruction of the Hanfur. That's it. That's what they're doing. And that's exactly what they do in Kathy Rain too. They look over this mass destruction.
There's a Han 4 scene here, right?
Yes.
Like it is 100%. You go into an underground cult facility where they're trying to do a ritual another trope. Oh, we solved the mystery just hours before They complete the ritual.
Yeah.
Um,
And so, yeah, it ends very quickly, but I think because of such a sweet sentiment at the end, I forgive it a little bit. I forgive
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Gabriel Knight didn't have that sweet sentiment. He's just like, well,
No.
my girlfriend's dead. It's like, oh, okay. All right, dude. No, this was way sweeter. And like, yes, obviously on the surface, it kind of looks like a trope. It looks corny, but I really think there's more to it than that. I think Kathy is learning that she had people in her life that truly loved her. And for the first time, she doesn't feel abandoned by a parental figure. Somebody supports her.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we come out of spoilers
Okay.
and sort of talk about what we liked and didn't like about the game, and
If I may posit what I think we should do, I think that we should play our what did you call it? Kathy Rainerino. I think we should play
yeah.
some music and come back, and we'll talk about things like puzzles and just our overall opinion on the gameplay, because we've not talked about that at all.
You're right. Yeah, let's do that so that people who wanted to skip the spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
So yeah, those people, you all know the story now. Now we're going to talk about the gameplay stuff and what we liked.
All right, play some Corey Fazerino. And welcome back, people who skipped the spoilers.
Yes. I hope you I don't know where I was going. I don't know. I was going to say I hope you enjoyed it, but if you skipped it, then
I hope you didn't enjoy it.
I hope you were so angry.
Skipping our discussion.
But
and you won't even know what made me almost cry. So take that, motherfuckers.
I think I hit a chord with Matt.
You know what? This is going to make you have to go play Kathy Rain 2 so that you can go back and listen to what almost made Matt cry.
I think I also like touched on, I have a vague memory of when we talked to Dave Gilbert where he was like, yeah, I never thought about that, Roses. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, why do I have to make everyone sad all the time?
Think of things that they no, I think that's a helpful thing. I mean, thinking of new dimensions of art that other people haven't thought of, and like art is meant to bring something emotional out of us. So
that's true.
I think you helping that is what makes you a good critic.
Thank you. And a good artist. I'm an artist. I don't know if you guys knew, but I am also an artist. I create art.
I think you're a good artist, but I think it's funny that you just appended a second compliment onto my compliment. You're also, here's the other thing you went.
Matt, you know me, and you know that I do not compliment myself. So let's let this lovely compliment train ride out.
I just thought it was funny. No, I absolutely, I think you're a good artist, and so do all our listeners. Email mattandroses@gmail.com and just say good artist. That's all. That's
good
all
artist. So we know that you listened to this third segment. Just say good artist.
And that you think Roses is a good artist. No details. Just the words good artist.
You don't have to go into, you don't have to be specific with me. I don't care. But yeah, I would like to touch on a few things gameplay wise, because when I played this demo, I forget when we played it, obviously a handful of months back, I was so impressed and enthralled by the graphics. This is a beautiful game.
The graphics are amazing, and going back and playing Kathy Rain 1, this is such a step up. Like, I thought Kathy Rain 1 looked good.
Same. Same.
Game looks fucking amazing.
It's phenomenal.
It's still pixel art, but like they leveled up by by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. Oh man, it just made me feel so good and cozy, because it is kind of a cozy thriller mystery type of vibe. The portraits are wonderful. They now have these kind of dynamic close-up shots, these action shots, kind of like, think about like Hobbs Barrow. Think about
Yeah.
those ugly action shots that were done
Yeah.
intentionally. We love Hobbs Barrow. These were just gorgeous and added kind of another dimension to the game. So like in terms of art style, it's gorgeous. I was so impressed. It looks so good.
And some Kathy Rain in her underwear, which was nice.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed that.
No, no, I think one of the things that one of my criticisms of the demo was that it looked softer. And I think what I was reacting to was just the art being better. And I think of Kathy Rain as a
Yeah.
tough chick, right? Like that's what they want us to think of her as. Like
Yeah.
even using the word chick, I think it's like part of she's a tough biker chick, right?
Tough chick.
But because of that, because the art was a little skilled, her portrait looks softer than the Kathy Rain of Kathy Rain 1. So I thought, it put me in mind of them kind of like pulling back on some of her toughness, which they didn't. They didn't at all. She's way tougher in this game. She shoots people with guns and stuff.
Yeah, and we all know that like varying aesthetics, alternative women who change their aesthetic, it doesn't always look badass. I have blonde hair right now, so that doesn't make me any less tough of a person.
Right. I think it was that it wasn't her aesthetic looked less tough. It was just that the portrait looked less tough. And I think there were some lines in the demo that were delivered in a slightly softer way, but that's not how I felt overall. Like, I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't either. I liked her character.
Yeah.
I think 3 years later, it makes sense. You're always kind of growing. And even if it was just an art style, you might be less tough after college, like you might be a stereotypical tough girl in college, and then you grow up a little bit in the next couple years.
How you feel about the gameplay?
So yeah, you were kind of questioning me off recording. You wanted to know you wanted to know more about the things that I thought were more one-to-one Gabriel Knight. And so I'm going to bring those up to you guys, and it's also going to explain the gameplay. You're going to get it if you especially if you played Gabriel Knight. So the first things first, this is an interrogative game. Much like Kathy Rain 1, you are asking people a lot of questions. You have a notebook, kind of Dagger of Amon-Ra style, and you use that notebook to question people. And you're interrogating people. And so that's very Gabriel Knight to me. Even the portraits that come up look like they're not exact, right? But it reminds me of Gabriel Knight a little bit. But some of the tropes and some of the characters and structure are almost one-to-one. So in Gabriel Knight 1, we have a character named Moonbeam. She's kind of a new age clairvoyant. I forgot what she calls herself. A priestess. She calls herself a voodoo priestess.
Okay, yeah.
So in this game, we have, it even starts with the same letter. It's Meadow. We have a character named Meadow, who's also new age, Reiki.
Is funny. I didn't realize this till I replayed Kathy Rain this week. Meadow is mentioned in Kathy Rain 1.
Oh, I didn't know that.
As Eileen's hippie friend that Kathy refuses to talk to. She's like, "Oh, you should talk to my friend, my friend Meadow. She knows about that stuff." And she's like, "You have a friend named Meadow?" Like, she's like really dismissive of it. And
okay.
Like, I'm good. And in this game, we meet Meadow.
Yeah. And it's very much a Moonbeam character. You have that Moonbeam character. You also have your religious character, maybe your overly religious character. In Gabriel Knight 1, it was Lady Kazanu. In this game, it's Rachel, a woman named Rachel who knew one of the victims, who is maybe a little bit hyper religious. And that kind of goes into, there is a church in this game. There is a priest that you talk to and meet. There is, what are some of the other one-to-one things?
I mean, the Han 4.
Sure,
Okay, we
the
won't talk
Han
about
4,
that.
yeah,
There
and
is
I think
a
you mentioned that.
we can't talk about that in the non-spoiler area, but there is a Han 4-like situation.
Sure. But also some of the not just the structure of the interrogation, but some of the puzzles as well. So you guys might remember the Rotodrum puzzle from Gabriel Knight, or maybe more notably, the message puzzle on the tomb, which is way
Yes.
too nitpicky for our taste.
But there's kind of it's interesting. There are um analogous puzzles to both
mhm.
in this game.
Yes. Yeah, to both. Yeah. There's certainly a message puzzle that involves a beeper, um, a deciphering puzzle, a hack. There's a hacking puzzle. Puzzles that I think are very close to Gabriel Knight, but especially like the messaging puzzle. And I liked that puzzle. I
Yeah.
like a good. They're kind of logicy, so they're not always my jam. But I like stuff like that. I like getting into the situation we're in, and or like sending a message as someone else. I like that. And that's what you do in
Yeah.
Gabriel Knight too. You send a message as someone else. Obviously there's a bit of a culty aspect to both games. Um there's another thing I was going to mention besides the puzzles, and I'm now blanking on it. I'm sure it'll come back. Um but that being said, oh, of course, the nightmares. The nightmares
Right.
that Kathy has every night. This is kind of a day one, day two, kind
That's
of
what I
a
was going to say. Even the
situation.
day, even the chapters being divided by
Mhm.
days is a
Yeah.
Gabriel Knight thing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And the nightmares that she has every night. There's one last thing, and I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to talk about it super vaguely. But in Gabriel Knight 1, you lose somebody
Mm-hmm.
tragically, and that's Uncle Wolfgang. He unfortunately dies,
Yeah.
and something very similar happens in Kathy Rain, and I won't go into details. We talked about it in the spoiler section, but I'm not going to detail that now. Obviously it's a murder mystery game, but trust me when I say it's a little more one-to-one than you think.
Yeah.
You know
I
what's
think
also
I
interesting?
Oh, yes, please.
I just had this thought.
Okay.
Gabriel Knight's a bit of a hoe. Remember that? He's a bit of a man slut. He sleeps
Mhm.
around and doesn't commit to people. Kathy Rain is the same way. There's actually a new character that's introduced, that you kind of use a little bit and you kind of refuse to get close to. I think that's super interesting. Those and I want to say this too. Again, I think I don't know if I said this on now. I don't know what I've said off recording, but I am okay with it being a parody like this. I think it's great and it's different enough and it has its own unique identity. I don't care. I don't care that it's using these structures at all.
She doesn't care at all. She won't even bring it up, actually.
I'll
You
fucking
can't
care.
tell her that she cares. She didn't even mention it.
Get the fuck out of here. Ending the pod.
Leave us alone.
Leave me alone. Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
I think yeah. Yeah, there's another thing that I don't know. This could just be in my dumb head.
Mhm.
But in Gabriel Knight, before I think the end of Gabriel Knight 2,
Mhm.
there's sort of just this very vague question. Is there something romantic between Grace
I know where you're going.
and Gabriel Knight?
Oh my
And
god, another peril! I can't
it's
believe this.
mostly just very deep subtext, right? Like,
Yes.
there's no, you could be talking to somebody else who played all the Gabriel Knight games, or who played Gabriel Knight 1,
Mhm.
and you could say, is there something going on between Gabriel Knight and Grace?
Right.
And they'd be like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There's nothing in the text that supports that. And you'd be like, okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think, but there's another type of person who
Yeah,
saw
I
maybe
would
there is
disagree.
something,
Yeah.
and it turned out there was.
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way between Eileen and Kathy.
I think
I
a lot
like
of people do.
there's there's nothing explicit.
Right.
So it could be entirely just in my fucking head.
Mhm.
But there's something about the way they talk to each other sometimes that I'm like,
Sure.
is there or was there? Did Eileen, like, I almost got this sense, my brain went even deeper. I almost got this sense that Eileen wanted something to happen between her and Kathy said no at some
Yeah.
point.
Being a comedophobe, sure.
Or maybe even just straight, right? Like, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know
Um,
either. Yeah.
or not straight, but not having reckoned with her own sexuality yet. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I got this sense throughout the game.
It's definitely yes, it's definitely similar in that way. There is that banter there. Eileen is kind of a Grace character, and not just in that banter, but she becomes kind of assistant to Kathy, whereas
Yeah.
Grace becomes assistant to Gabriel. She's always doing research for Gabriel and finding new things. And that's kind of Eileen's role as well. She
Yeah.
helps you with several things.
And there's a deep affection there, which could just be friendly.
Yeah, it could be. Yep.
But there again, there are just these little moments and little interactions between them where I'm like, am I supposed to think that hmm,
I
hmm,
think you are at
hmm.
least supposed to question it.
Okay.
I would be delighted if it was just like a girl friendship. I think we need
Same.
more of those, you know? I
Agreed.
think yeah, I love a healthy girl best friend relationship. Um
Also, I love any friendship where love is expressed, right? Like, I
yeah,
love any friendship that dares to be um that dares to be emotionally vulnerable, right?
yeah,
Like, because you don't get a lot of those in media. You don't get a lot of those in life. I think you get more of them in media now than ever before.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
obviously that's a bigger deal in male friendships.
Sure.
That it's like it's a thing that is missing in male friendships more than it's missing in female friendships. But it's still it is always a thing that
Yeah.
is that I love.
And I mean, female friendships have been written so cattily, you know, in the past.
That's true.
Just women being catty and not liking each other. That's been such a thing for so long. That's why I'm delighted by it. It was like it's either romantic or everyone hates each other. You know what I mean? Like women hate each
Right.
other or they love each other
They're
romantically, and no
competing
one can
over a
be friends.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm always delighted when I see kind of a best friend situation, you know.
Yes.
But like
Um,
I want to ask you, what did you think of I kind of described a little bit of the puzzles. What did you think about them though? Were they enjoyable to you?
actually, I loved them. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed figuring out the beeper. I really enjoyed figuring out the hacking.
Mhm.
Um, I enjoyed figuring out the details. There's a puzzle early on where
Mhm.
you have to sort of put together the details. You have to take an actual quiz.
I loved that quiz. I loved that quiz, honestly.
And that's a thing that I've come to really really love in video games over the past few years, right? Is this
Mhm.
idea of doing actual detective work in a game.
Yes.
And that is a thing you have to do, and you have to
Yes.
make inferences and then verify them against facts to see if if your these inferences hold water or not.
Mhm.
And then you test them by again filling out an actual test, which is very
Yeah.
funny.
And that's a
um
very Jane Jensen thing too. It's like research in the game. Like go to the
yes,
library in game and look up microfiche stuff and like computer stuff, and you're doing actual research within the game's story. It was
absolutely,
fun.
which
I liked it.
it's not everybody's thing, but
No.
I love it. And I felt like this game not only had just the sort of cozy point and click, almost fetch quests, like just running around. This person wants this thing, and who whatever. But it had some puzzles that really did strain my brain a little bit.
Same.
I only got stuck once, and I think it was because I had taken like 2 weeks
Oh, okay. You took
between
some time off and it
I took some
wasn't.
time off and came
Yeah.
back, and I forgot a thing that I had already seen.
Right.
That was the clue to it was the cigarette puzzle. I
Yeah.
figured out how to
Like change
make
the color.
change the color of the cigarette pack. I didn't figure out how to change the scent of the
Right.
cigarettes because I
So
had
I played.
forgotten.
Right.
There's a clue that it's not just a clue that helps, it's a clue you have to look at. You can't gather the ingredients until Kathy Rain comments on the clue.
Right.
It's one of those things where it's like locked behind that. But I'd forgotten that that clue was there, and I'd
Right.
seen it before it was relevant, and yeah.
I just played through it. So it's
Yeah.
obviously it's stuck with me. So I'm like, "Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just go find that clue and see what I can do."
Where that clue is, I had read everything in those.
Yeah.
We're being so vague right now. This is going to be annoying to somebody who hasn't played the
Okay.
game or yeah. I had poured over that section.
Yeah, you had run into it before. You had seen it before.
Exactly. I'd seen it. I'd even logged it in my memory because again, I had read all of it,
Yeah.
and it left. It left in the couple weeks that I took a break. So, but beyond that, I didn't find anything so hard that I needed like walkthroughs or that I needed. It was I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
the puzzles.
There's also a hint system, so hopefully you're not going to need to resort to a walkthrough. Obviously, I have no problem if you do. I don't want people
Sure.
getting so stuck that they are irritated, because how are you going to solve a puzzle when you're irritated? Like it's hard,
Right.
you
Right.
know. What did you think about the characters of this game?
They were a little less developed than the characters in Kathy Rain 1.
Agreed. That's my main criticism of this
Yeah.
game is that because it is a faster paced procedural, you're
Mhm.
not going back to familiarize yourself with these characters as much as you do in Kathy Rain 1 or Gabriel Knight. We talk to Lady Kazanu all the time and
Yeah.
Detective Mosley, we talk to them all the time. They became routine, which I like in a game. This is a little different in that some of these characters you kind of bond with, right? And then you never
Yes.
see them again. I was like,
They're
oh,
the games are about the same length. Kathy Rain 2 is maybe an hour longer or so than Kathy Rain 1, but
yeah,
y- you but it has like twice the amount of characters.
yeah,
And so
that's a lot.
so the result of that is you just spend less time with them. You go
Yeah,
back to each character. Like there's a woman in a flower shop who there's supposed to be a big moment with.
hmm
But I didn't know her. Right?
yeah.
So when the big moment happened, I was kind of like, "Oh."
So that,
Right? Like
yeah, I totally get it. It still was like a little jarring because it some of these moments are. That is basically a mirror of again, this is not a spoiler because it's really not one to one. You're not even going to know which character I'm talking about in Kathy Rain, but it's kind of mirroring the professor of Tulane University in Gabriel Knight
okay.
1. But again, we get to know the professor in Gabriel Knight 1.
Yes.
We question him, he does research for us. These are fully developed characters that are kind of helping us out, and we're going back to talk to him. And I think this is either going to be a thing that people really like or really don't, because it does cut back on backtracking, right? Some people don't like dialogue heavy games, and some of the criticism for Gabriel Knight is that it's long-winded, man. Like it is
Sure.
backtracking like crazy. And you're either going to like that cuz it gives routine familiarity, or you're just going to be like, god, this is so much information. I don't like it.
And I'll say Kathy Rain is not long-winded. Right?
Yeah, it's
For a
not.
story
It's
game and a
not.
point and click adventure game, there's no point in which I'm like,
Yeah.
get through this dialogue. The dialogue is not only well written, it's also breezy. It passes by
Yes.
you, it keeps moving.
It is
Um
not
the
Discworld.
the other character that I don't feel is developed at all, is, and I know this is such a cliche to call a location a character, but
Mhm.
Cassidy, Illinois.
Yeah.
I don't I
There's
don't
not a lot about
understand.
it, is there?
No, we spent 2 games in it now, and the places in it just don't seem to like, there's a biker bar, but there's a flower shop, and
It's like a poetry bar.
there's like a poetry bar,
Yeah.
there's like a bad side of town, I guess, but there's also the biker bar seemed to be kind of outside the town, and, like,
Yeah.
I don't there's, I guess, a college there? No,
Yeah.
the college is in the city, which is right next to the town. I don't know. I have such a hard time putting this suburb together in my mind.
Sure. And I think that's important. And I think if we look back to Gabriel Knight, it's taking from a real city, New Orleans, and Gabriel Knight 2 went on to do Germany. And because they're using these real places, they're actually dedicated to making it as accurate as possible. I think it would have been a better thing to do to maybe just make it in Chicago. Maybe make it in a city where you can make these things familiar, where you can give it
Oh,
a personality.
what a surprise. Roses wants something set in Chicago.
Oh my god, that's just coincidence.
No, yeah. I I think honestly, I almost wonder if just putting a map
Mm,
would have helped.
sure. Yes, you don't really get
Gabriel
a map.
Knight puts all the locations on the map, and then you can picture where they are, and
That's
it
true.
almost gives you a sense of that version of New Orleans.
That's true.
This I don't have a sense of what Cassidy looks like. Is there forest between all
Yeah,
these different places? Is
yeah,
there woods? Or woods is forest. Is there are there hills? Is there
yeah.
is it like a suburb that is mostly city, and so in between
Right. Or
everything
is it
is
a
just
small town?
roads and apartments, right? Like
Because
what?
we
Yeah, is it?
remember we do go to like a cabin in the woods. We go to a forest preserve, but also there's a city part. You're right. The city has a little bit of an identity crisis, and I don't really feel connected to the setting. I feel connected to the individual settings.
Yeah,
Those are
I mean,
great. Yeah.
because if they just showed me a map, there's like this is the downtown.
Yeah.
This is like um the neighborhoods where your grandmother lives, and maybe the cemetery is, and maybe the flower shop is, and
Yeah.
this out here is like the outskirts where the biker bar is,
Yeah.
and in maybe in the center is the nature preserve. Like,
Mhm.
I would feel just that, just seeing how the town was laid out. Maybe I'm harping too much on it,
No,
but
I agree. I agree with
it
you.
would have made me feel attached in a way that I didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that is the thing Kathy Rain 2 is missing the most,
Yeah.
is a sense of attachment. Like a
Yeah.
sense of giving us a reason to feel attached to any of it.
Yeah. Agreed. I agree with you.
Um, but here's the funny part: it's an adventure game where you find a rope and you can't pick it up.
Wait, when is that?
When there's a moment where you hmm, how do I say this without spoiling? There's a
Okay,
moment where
you don't have to.
there's a
It's
moment where you get caught.
okay.
You get caught in something that involves a rope.
Oh, right. I don't know if okay, I don't think I tried to pick up the rope.
The first thing I did is a adventure game. I want
Oh,
that rope.
man. Oh,
Give me the
shit.
rope.
I'm losing it. I'm losing it.
I do think it's funny. Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
every adventure game, you need a rope. Kathy Rain, nah, she doesn't want that
She
rope.
didn't want a rope. We're not putting that in our outfit.
All right. Well, do you have any final thoughts on Kathy Rain 2 Soothsayer? We talked about this a lot more than I thought we would.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, my only final thought is that I really liked this game. It did miss a couple points for me. as we talked about. That's only because I liked it, though. And I've said that before. When I like a game, I want it to be as developed as it possibly can. But it is
Yeah.
a fantastic procedural. It makes sense. The character of Kathy Rain is great. And yeah, the dialogue is really breezy. And again, it's beautiful.
Yes.
I'm so enamored with what this game looks like. Well done.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. I was really taken with this game. I think I was taken with the first one, but
Oh yeah, I was too. Yeah.
this one I think was a great follow-up. I'm really happy having played it. Like
Yeah.
I'm glad that we played this one and glad we talked about this one. I think there's a lot to love there. I'd highly recommend it
Yeah,
to anybody
absolutely
who's a
recommend
fan
it.
of anyone who's a fan of detective games, story games, and especially if you're a fan of point and click adventures.
Yeah. I
Um,
think is that a wrap on this episode? Did we do it?
think that's a wrap.
Holy
There's one
shit.
other thing I wanted to tell you about, actually.
You did?
Yes,
Okay.
and we won't do. Okay, why don't we go ahead and play Cranky Boozerino?
Oh shit, that's not a good combo.
No, no, and come back, and I have one more thing to tell you before we say goodbye.
Okay.
Hey, Roses.
Hi.
I want to tell you about a thing that I played that, you know, we've already talked about a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
And it is the game Pine Hearts, which is number 49 on our list of every adventure game of all time.
So
And
you actually went and played one of the ranks.
I actually went and played a game that we ranked and I hadn't played before.
You know what that
So
means?
I get to re-rank it.
You can if you want to. But yeah,
So
let me tell.
Let me tell you about it a little bit first. It is a sort of top down, well, isometric maybe, cute little 3D game where it's sort of like a real simplified version of maybe a top-down Zelda or something,
Sure.
where it's not quite a Metroidvania, but you are getting new abilities and new tools throughout the game that will allow you to pass barriers that you've encountered before. You are a dude returning to a mountain from your childhood. I think this takes place somewhere in Scotland because people say some Scottish slang every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, it's by Hyperluminal Games. It came out in 2024. So you're back at this mountain that you were, and you're I guess the forest ranger or something won't let you climb the mountain until you have all the equipment you need. So you have to go around helping people with these little abilities that you learn. You're also collecting memory droplets.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have enough memory droplets, you enter a memory and learn a new ability. So those abilities will be a thing like you can push over a tree to make yourself a little bridge. You can pick up a block and move it. You can hop across a little gap, and all of them have their own sort of. Calling them mini games isn't even, but it'll be like hopping across the gap. You have to get your accuracy right, so there's a little meter that bounces back and forth, and you have to catch it in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're lifting a block, you have to move the stick up and then hold in A so that he can gather up his strength. Just little things like that, right?
A little bit like a short hike, right? Where you're kind of getting abilities, you're climbing up a mountain.
I can see how it would sound the same,
Yeah.
but I think it's very different than a short hike. But like an indie game, like a short hike even, it does have that. You find out throughout the game you are grieving a lost parent
Yeah.
who you visited this mountain with when you were a little kid, and you're remembering moments with them, and that's how you remember these different things. And like a short hike, you are trying to distract yourself from a parent who is going through some surgery, it sounds
Mhm.
like, and you don't know if they're going to make it or not. It's just a very indie game thing. Like, oh, you're doing this very simple task, but your parent died and you have to you're constantly remembering them. Like, that's every indie game is that plot.
Sure.
Right? So the plot, it might resonate with some people. I don't know that it resonated very strongly with me, because again, it's just like, I've seen this so many times.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't done in a particularly unique way, but it was cute. And mostly you're just running around meeting these people in this big park and seeing the silly stuff they're up to, and maybe helping them with silly little tasks. A lot of fetch quests, like a lot of fetch
I love a
quests.
fetch quest though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
And some of the quests are as simple as walking over to something and pressing A. Like,
Yeah.
it's a very, very simplistic game.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to tell who the audience is, because it feels simple enough for a child, but I don't know. I guess a child can understand the concept of grief.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe this is meant to be like a family friendly game. Maybe you're meant to play this with your kid.
Yeah, or maybe it's just for, children of all ages.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the gameplay is very, very simple, and there's a lot of backtracking. So,
Yeah.
for that reason, I don't want to kick it very high up the chart,
Okay.
but I do think it belongs a little higher than where we put it.
Okay, fair. Where would you like to place it?
So, right now it's at 49, which is right behind Flight of the Amazon Queen. Now, it sounds like it's gonna be making a big jump, but over time, I think this is going to drop. Where I'm gonna put it is going to drop further and further on the list as we get.
Yeah.
We've had so few games that are like classics or that we
No.
love show up yet.
Yeah.
So I'm looking around 31 between Wavetail and Shady Part of Me.
Okay.
'Cause they
I will
also
allow it because you played it. You were
I
using
played it.
you're using the rule that we did, so
If you play it and you want to kick it back down, I can't stop you.
that'd be so funny. I just play all these games to spite you.
Yeah, just move them anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Like, every game that I play, you play. You always play second so that I can't argue. Yeah, so that's Pine Hearts.
Nice.
It's worth. I think watch a trailer and see if it's something that you're gonna like. Because again, it's very cozy. It's a relaxing game. The soundtrack can get a little repetitive, but it's different in each area. So there's some songs that were more annoying than others, and some that I
Sure.
really liked. And there's some funny stuff in it too. So if you don't mind just the most gossamer of mechanics, again, really just walking up to shit and pressing A,
Yeah.
then yeah, maybe give Pine Hearts a whirl.
Yeah, it sounds like a great stress reliever. I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna move it. It's so
All
funny.
right. So, that said, guys, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
thank you for joining us today. We know we've been inconsistent lately, and we're working on it.
That's just life, you know?
Podcasts is like life.
Is like life.
Inconsistent.
But yeah, you know what though? I'm proud of both of us and this podcast. We've got out over 60 episodes, and that's a feat for any podcaster. So
absolutely. And
yeah.
Hey, send us some encouraging words. You can email us, mattandroses@gmail.com. And you can say, what was it? Good art?
Good artist.
Good artist. Yeah. Send us good artist and nothing else. Or send us questions for a future Q&A episode. We haven't done one of those. We haven't done anything in a while.
Yeah. Open to suggestion.
We're open to all things.
And if you're interested in talking to us on social media, we do have an Instagram that sometimes we update with cute little things. You can find us at Save Your Game Podcast on Instagram. And yeah, we every time we upload an episode, we do update on Instagram as well.
Oh, and thanks everyone for the great feedback about the last episode. It was a departure.
It was, yeah.
From what we normally do, and it seems like you guys enjoyed it. So,
I enjoyed doing it. It was fun.
Absolutely. I don't know that a thing will come up off again that will make us have to do something, feel like we have to do something like that. But, knowing that you guys liked it means that we know we have that option available in the future.
Absolutely.
That said, I think there's only one thing left to say.
What's that?
On the theme of good artist, I actually believe that podcast is art.
I agree. Podcast is art, but also
what?
Art, yeah, but also artists suffer.